Hello, welcome back to Commander Paradise. My name is Tyler.
I'm Ryan.
Today we're going to do another tier list. We're talking about the MDFC Lands. Because I think they're some of the strongest cards in this entire format. Because they are they're in your mana base, but then they also are spells, which is kind of busted.
Yeah, it's like the channel lands are super, super good. These are semi in the same category.
I think they're just...
Or fairly close.
Yeah, they're close. They're not as good because, like, Besiege You
Channel is just like
a spell.
Oh, crazy. Yeah, the fact that you can do it, like, kind of off the stack is really crazy. But the MDFCs are also just as like solid in terms of having some kind of advantage in your mana base. It's always good when lands can do something extra. Mm-hmm. But it's even better when those lands are castable spells that will advance your game state once you either have enough land that you are hitting all your land drops or you need something to kind of push your game along. So they're super useful. I think they're just below the channel lands in terms of crackedness.
Yeah, but the channel lands, I think, are some of the strongest cards they've ever printed. So I think that's like barely saying anything. Like, they're still really good.
Yeah. So we decided that we would go through and we would do a tier list of all of them that we have.
Because
what are our
Modern Horizons 3 gave us like new ones. They gave us like 20 more, which is insane.
Yeah,
and they're like better.
It is a lot.
They're all better than the new one, than the original ones, I think. So the original ones were like solid, but these new ones are just like whoa. So it's game time.
There's a couple, yeah.
I think they're all really good, except for the energy ones. So our categories are goated. They're some of the strongest commander spells of all time. Honestly, you should just run them in any deck that has that color. Solid means they're solid if you have them, and you should run them because they're good. But you're not missing out by not having them, probably. But they're good. They'll do well for you. Situational, they don't go in.
If you got them, you should run them.
You should run them. But if you don't have them, you'll be like whatever. Situational. Yeah. Not every deck needs this, but if your deck is in, like, if you're in like a niche archetype that like it's so good in that archetype, and then it's like kind of useless elsewhere. Meh is it's just kind of meh. Like, it's not really adding much. If you have one, you could probably do it just because of you have it, and it's better than a basic land, but you don't necessarily need it. And then no, it's just I don't even think it's worth having in your deck.
Yeah, because there are some that it's just kind of like you don't really need this. If you want to play it, fine, yeah. No worries. But like, it's not kind of to the level of. I want to keep saying crackedness that some of these cards are at, because there's a couple
that are just
one
insane.
Or two in my head that I'm just like, yeah, they're insane. But then the other ones also make me kind of shrug my shoulders. I'm kind of like, I would just play maybe like a different land over that entirely at some points.
Mm-hmm. So,
but what are we starting off
do
with?
you want to just go like down through Scryfall? So we'll just kind of go, I guess, alphabetically.
Yeah, that works for me.
Then at the first one, we got Agadeem's
starts us off
Awakening.
Pretty strong start.
Yeah, pretty strong. It's X black return for a sorcery. Return from your graveyard to the battlefield any number of target creature cards that each have a different converted mana cost, X or less.
Yeah.
And then on the back, so there's different types of NEMCs that they like enter the battlefield in different ways. There's 5 of these mythic ones that all say when it enters the battlefield, you may pay 3 life. If you don't, it enters the battlefield tapped. And then all the monocolor ones in Modern Horizons 3 have this as well, which is pretty insane. So it never enters the battlefield tapped. Because you have 40 life. You're always just going to pay 3 life. So it's never a tapped land, that's pretty insane. So it's just a basic land that also is like one of the strongest reanimation spells in the format, I think. Just because of how flexible it is. And like the more mana you dump into it, the more things you can get. Because it's any number of target creature cards that each have a different mana cost, X or less. So if you pay 4 mana into this, so 7 mana, you're going to get back 4 creatures. A 4-drop, a 3-drop, a 2-drop, a 1-drop. That's pretty insane.
Yeah. It's pretty solid, especially when you're just self-milling and dumping a bunch of stuff in the yard. And the other side is the land pretty much always enters untapped, or like if you have a turn that you're just like, I'm not going to hit this anytime soon, or I'm not doing enough of the thing that it's worth casting this card, you can always just play it on an off turn tapped, save the 3 life to like use Yawgmoth, because with Yawgmoth you're going to want to use that life to draw the card. That's 3 life draw. 3 cards or 3 life have this entered untapped, which I'd rather play this tapped and draw 3 cards and set myself up for the next turn. But it's still stupid. It's really strong. You just got to make sure you set yourself up right to play it, but it's pretty much always going to get you back at least like 2 or 3 things, which is really good.
Honestly, I think it goes in any non 3-color deck, because the 3 black pips is a little rough, but in like Golgari, Dimir, Orzhov, like you'll do it easy. And then you can get back whatever. Anything that's like, it just reanimates anything. Anything you need that's important. Your important shit's always going to die, or you're going to have it discarded, or you're going to get milled by something. You're just going to get it back. Whatever's important, you'll get it back in your mana base. So I think it just goes in literally every single black deck for the most part.
Yeah, and if you're playing Stinky, you got Urborg and Coffers, which basically cast this for free with an X of like 5 or 6, and then you still have all your mana up. So you're kind of going to dominate at that point, and it's also a nice, like, get everything back on the field, just sack it again for that final, like, what is it? Blood Artist, Bastion of... like, once you have all of those Peener things set up, you just play this, get everything back on the field, sack it, get all the stuff from sacking it, and then you're pretty much done. My personal preference, goated. I feel like that's a pretty easy spot to put it in.
Yeah, me too. I think it has to be. This is probably the strongest one. It's up there.
I would disagree with that purely because Seagate Restoration can be a win con.
Seagate's good. I think it's those two are the best.
Just pull Seagate up too, because we're just gonna smack it up there together.
Okay. So next, we got Seagate Restoration, 4 blue. So 7 mana. Draw cards equal to the number of cards in your hand plus 1. You have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. And then on the back, it's pay 3 life or enters tap for a blue land.
Yar.
What do you think, Ryan?
I think it's great. I was thinking I might have accidentally gotten it slightly confused with the Blue Zenith, which is the X one. But, I mean, in any blue deck where your goal is to draw your deck and you have a huge number of cards in hand already, or say like James's Oh, what's the Sphinx?
Oh, fuck the Sphinx, dude. I hate the Sphinx.
Yeah.
Attempsis?
Attempsis. Yeah, this is like play 7 mana, set yourself up to win with Attempsis. This is just kind of your win con in that deck because you're going to draw. Because James already has so many like no max hand size plus draw things in that deck that you're going to draw like an extra 20 cards, have all the mana values that you need to just do the pain thing and win against everyone. Because Attempsis, when you have, what is it, 7 different mana values in your hand.
And it deals damage to a player. That player loses the game.
Yeah, that player loses the game. So this just sets you up for that. This is also a good lab man card. It's also just good to get a bunch of shit in your hand.
Like 7 mana, draw 7, you know? Like, that's pretty great. And then you have no maximum hand size, so.
And then just being able to get, I feel like blue pips are the hardest spellcasting wise in a lot of like multicolor decks because all your counter spells and stuff are going to want 2 blue pips. And this gives you an extra way where if you're holding on to it and you're like, nope, I gotta have a counter spell up, I gotta have this up, you can just play it as a land and pay the 3 life, and you're still not really missing too much. So I think this is a one where the pay 3 life is way like just a little more effective because it's outside of a color that's using its life as a resource already for stuff. So you're kind of like, fuck it, 3 life, and I'm counter spelling something that I need to stop. Yeah. What do you think, though?
I think it's really great. On just kind of any blue deck that can cast it, like as long as you can like afford the 3 blue pips, like just rip it, you know. Like there's gonna be some turns where you're like, I'm safe. I got a board. I'm good. I'm just gonna draw like 8 cards and then have like 18 cards in hand, and then I'll win on the next turn because I've drawn like a million cards. I really like it in like Simic decks because you've ramped super hard. You know, like if you already have like a no maximum hand size thing out, like in my Simic Joel Rail deck, where I have like I've already drawn like 17 cards and I've cast this, so I'm drawing 17 more cards, you know. So, or it's also really good in like Spellslinger decks because you can make it cost less when you have all those cost reducers. So if you're paying like just 3 blue for this, it's insane.
That's also super true. And doubling it.
Oh, yeah. Or copy it. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
So draw 14, draw 24. Crazy.
Yeah, and hold on to all of it.
Yeah, no maximum hand size. So I just, honestly, any blue deck, as long as you have the mana for it. So maybe less, I would say less in like multicolor decks. But if you got good mana, you can do it. So I think it's just kind of any deck for the most part.
Yeah.
So, goated.
That's what I would say.
Sweet. Next up, let's just go. Okay. So in next up we got Akum Warrior. There's like a whole cycle of these. There's one for each color. We can maybe just kind of cover all these like right now. It's got it's a 6 mana 4/5 Minotaur Warrior with Trample. And then on the back, it enters the battlefield tapped.
And it's just a single red.
1 red. Yeah, it just taps for red.
Yeah.
And then there's also so for the like Zendikar Rising like party mechanic, there's one of these of all the different parties. So you got a rogue, you got a cleric, you got a wizard, you got a warrior. And then is there a 5th one? Is there only 4 in party?
Technically there's only 4 in party, but it would be weird if they didn't just kind of round it out. Because what? So
I don't think there's a green one. Oh yeah, because the green one is the Mana Dork. That one's really good. Yeah. So there's the 4.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So just the 4 party ones. They're kind of just vanilla creatures. I mean, they kind of do something. But what do you think about Akum Warrior? 4/5 trample.
I'll say I think Akum Warrior is probably the worst out of it.
Yeah.
because 6 mana for a 4/5 and trample is not super super great. Some of the other ones have a little more text on them that might be worth looking at, but like I think this one is definitely the one that's just like it's a dude.
Yeah, I think like if you're like rocking like a supreme budget, this could be kind of decent in like a Gruul Stompy kind of thing because it's got 4 power, so it's going to trigger your Grook's Uprising or stuff like that, and it's got trample. So if you're like on like a big budget, this is pretty good because it's just giving you some flexibility in your mana base, which on a budget you're not really going to have.
Yeah.
But besides that, I would say you probably shouldn't run this. Maybe, like, is there even a good warrior deck? It's like there's Najila, but if you're not running a Akum warrior in a Najila, you're doing crazy shit in Najila. You don't have time for this.
Yeah, and all the other warrior stuff is more
bad.
Yeah, either bad or I feel like they've pivoted more to like soldier and like human. You know what I mean? Like the Azurius soldier type stuff.
Yeah. So, okay. Where would you put Akum Warrior? I'm kind of thinking just no.
Yeah, I was going to say my personal preference would be no.
It's like you don't need it.
Yeah.
You could play it, but I wouldn't. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean if you dig it, and you play it. Obviously, that's the whole point of this game, but like I wouldn't play it.
And then
I'll say I think and
then the next one is Black Bloom Rogue, a 3-mana 2/3 with Esper Isengard, so we have to stand. Menace, and it gets +3/+0 as long as an opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard.
I think this is a perfect situational one. Like if you're in a rogue deck, it having Menace and then also being like a 5/3 because you're going to be making your opponent mill is not at all bad for 3 mana. And then also having a land stapled onto the back for your Dimir deck helps out a lot. Not like if you're outside of a rogue matters deck, I would say no. I don't really see a point in playing it, but like for a rogue deck, this is not bad.
think it's solid.
There's probably worse rogues out there.
I think it's a good rogue. If you care about that key, that job, you care about the rogue creature type, I think it's pretty solid. Because it's in your mana base, and then if you need a rogue on the field, if you need to get in, what's that? Anawan?
Yeah, Anawan the Ruin Thief.
How do you spell Anawan?
Aniwon.
There we go. Anawan the Ruin Thief. If you're running this guy,
oh nope,
you should definitely run it. Or
I'm totally butchered the spelling on that, but yes, that dude does. That's the rogue daddy.
Yeah, I also think it's decent in like that party, the like Azorius party deck that cares about all the having a full party. I didn't really like that deck, but people like it.
You talking about Orzhov?
Yes, the Orzhov party deck.
Yeah, that would be good
in there too. So, situational.
Yeah, I feel like that's the poster child for situational.
Yeah, it's like in this one, these like 2 decks, it's solid. After that, don't even look at it.
Yeah, after that, it's so not worth it. But in those 2 decks, it could do some damage.
Next up, what's another one? Okay, we got it's loading. Skyclave Cleric, 1 in a blue for a 1/3 core cleric. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life. Same thing. If you care about it being a cleric, run it. And if not, don't even look at it.
I couldn't find it on my...
Skyclave Cleric. 1 in a white for a 1/3.
Oh, 1 in a white. Okay. Oh yeah, you said one in a blue, and I was like, "Does
my bad.
What is going on?" Yeah, yeah, and only play it in a cleric deck because there's not enough clerics.
Yeah. And that,
But it's fine. It's a land.
yeah. It's a tap land that can be a cleric when you need it. Like, I don't like, cause I feel like you could look at this and be like, oh, I care about gaining life. Don't even worry about it. Like, there's so much better ways to gain life than like this bad card. So yeah, like a Soul Sisters can be way better than this.
Yeah, this would be like your, how you should have like maybe 10 or 11 cards that are on theme. This is like your 21st card that's on theme.
Yeah, I mean, I might even put this in no.
Yeah, you can make a cleric deck without it, I think. And there's plenty of 1 mana sorcery spells in white that give you 2 life.
If you're in the cleric deck, you can run it.
But it's a 1/3. It's a decent blocker. And it's 2 mana.
Situational.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll just do that. Get it out of here.
And the last one of these party ones is Amura Wizard. 5 mana 4/3. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery or wizard spell, Amura Wizard gains flying until end of turn.
Good no wizard deck.
Yeah.
It fits for all the blue stuff, and it's also not the worst beater in the world, so if you put like a curiosity on it or something like that, you're either definitely getting blocked and getting rid of some stuff on the board state or drawing cards. So,
yep.
Yeah, I would see this feels way more situational than the cleric one.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, at least this is like evasive. Like, it's like four power in there. Like, that does way more than that cleric. The cleric literally doesn't do anything.
Oh, well, no, for sure. But I mean, like, in terms of the cleric being bad and the wizard being good situationally, I think that's what I mean. I'm not saying the wizard is, like, better than the cleric and they're both good. They're both, like, pretty meh. I think, because it's like, sometimes I like to hold up my instants. I want to cast them on my turn. So it could kind of give me a blocker, but I don't know if I'm going to want to pay 5 mana for that. If I'm doing 5 mana in blue, I want to be doing a little bit more. What do you think?
Situational.
That's totally fine.
It's just okay. Next up, let's just go back to... Okay.
Well, do you want to do the last one that's like in that cycle?
Sure.
It's Tangled Florahedron. Yeah. Aw, it's cute.
It is cute. 1 in a green for a 1/1 elemental that taps to add green. It's a mana dork.
And then it's a land that enters tapped on the back. Mm-hmm. I would say this is good.
I think it's solid for sure. Like, it's one of the better mana dorks out there.
Yeah, it's also a body, Like we were yelling about Wood Elves, it's something that you can put counters on, you can do other stuff with as well. And then if you don't need to do that, you can just play it as land and get your landfall triggers.
I think it's really good in the elemental deck specifically.
That's
but I think it's solid. I think it's probably underplayed. Honestly.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm thinking.
It's pretty good.
I think it's good.
So put them in solid.
Oh, it's solid. Yeah, we put him in solid.
I guess solid.
Solid, cute little guy.
Next up, we got another green one. Another banger.
This card is so good.
You want to read this one, Ryan?
Yeah, please. This is Balagad Recovery. It's 2 and a green at sorcery speed. Return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Target card. You can get anything back with this. This is Eternal. Isn't this Eternal Witness, but instead of 2 green, it's 1 green and 2 generic?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's Eternal Witness without the stick. And then it's a land on the back. So if you have Eternal Witness and this in hand, you can play a land and then play Eternal Witness. Yeah, I think this is like probably one of the best cards in the format. I love this card so much. I think this is goated beyond belief.
Because regrowth is like a really powerful effect, but like the card regrowth is just like a little. That's hard to have in your full 99. You know. But like Eternal Witness, it being on a creature is like really good. This being a land is just so good because now you're down from 36 lands to 35 lands and you still get your regrowth effect. So really great. Definitely goated.
Yeah.
It's like a $6 card for a reason. Anytime I see one at a store, I just buy it.
That's solid. Yeah. That's one of the cards I'm always like, do I have an extra? Shit. Nope. I gotta go get another one. I go find one. What we got cooking next? Is it
It's
Baying
yeah,
Veil?
Baying Veil.
Baying Veil.
1 and a blue for a instant. I've never seen this one. I didn't know this was actually a card that existed. Creatures your opponents control get -2/-0 until end of turn.
It's a nice little like half fog. Shuts down a token deck per turn.
Yeah, it's like it's like half a fog, kind of. I mean, it'll probably save you. If you're about to die, this could do something.
Yeah, as long as you're not facing Voltron.
Yeah.
This will more than likely save you. This could also save you in Voltron, but not in the same like blowout way.
This could also stop like life gain stuff. Like if someone's going wide with a bunch of 1/1s that all have lifelink, they're not going to gain any life.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Is that worth? I still think it's
like that caddy corner chance that you might be playing against a Weenie's life gain
or
deck.
like just a go wide deck in general.
I feel like that's a little easier to bet on than like life gain, because I feel like most decks will kind of go wide by default towards the end of the game anyway. But if it's like a +1/+1 counters deck, I don't know how much that's going to change. Like, we've played a lot of games with Mothman, and that deck kind of just laughs at this.
Yeah, it's like you're going to take, like, 8 less, but you're still taking 32. So, like, what are you going to do about it? Like,
you're still taking quadruple the lethal amount that you need.
So, I would put this in meh.
I put it in meh too. I do want to just speak to the fact that it is spelled Beyen. Why we got that E in there?
The Veil. But I think the art's really cool.
The art is super cool. Oh, and I don't know if we said it out loud for this one. This one is a blue land that enters tapped on the back. There's no way for it to enter untapped. And it was the same way with all of the creatures we just talked about. They all enter tapped, and that's all you got. So it's either the spell on the front or a tapped land.
Yeah. Maybe a mono blue, because this is better than an island. So, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd still put it in meh, probably.
I think if you're a mono blue, this would be pretty good. Just because it's something.
Yeah. Also, probably a good budget card.
Yeah. Okay, we got a new one.
What is this
Blood-Soaked Insight. It's a Rakdos card. It's 5 hybrid Rakdos. So 7 mana, but it costs 1 less to cast for each life your opponents have lost this turn with the sorcery. Target opponent exiles the top 3 cards of their library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play those cards. If you cast the spell this way, mana of any type can be spent to cast it.
Till the end of your next turn is really good.
It's a long time.
That's pulling a lot of weight for this card because it's easy to cast this for 2 mana.
Yeah.
Like in Commander, this is so easy to cast for 2 mana.
Especially in Rakdos, it's just like a pinger. It's like you ping twice.
Yeah. You ping twice, or you have 2 pingers and ping once, and then it's 2 mana, get 3 cards from somebody else's library. Regardless, they're gone, and then you can cast them if you want.
And then on the back,
that's crazy.
On the back, it's just a tapped dual land, so it just taps for a black or a red.
Sanguine Morris.
Yeah, that land,
Moras.
That art looks awesome.
Yeah, it's really good. This is a good card.
I think it's solid. I think I would need some more synergy than this. This is a Prosper card for sure because it exiles. You're casting spells from exile, and then in Prosper you're going to be running all those like pingers with like whenever an artifact enters, and so you're like casting. You're like doing shit from exile already. You're making your treasures, and then you're pinging for making your treasures, and then your opponents lose life. And then you cast this, you get 3 more things you can cast.
That's also true. Yeah, this goes ballistic in that deck.
Really good in Prosper. It might be kind of good in like the Rakdos Lord of Riots deck.
Oh. Which one's that?
Rakdos Lord of Riots, black, red for a 6/6. This spell can't you can't cast a spell unless an opponent lost life this turn. Flying Trample. Creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each 1 life your opponents have lost this turn. And so you're already playing all like the pingers. So like deal 1 damage to each opponent. Like you're already doing that in this deck to make your creatures just cost way less.
Yeah.
So this just kind of like does the Rakdos thing that you're already doing. So it's good in there too.
Yeah, I think this also fits really well in there. I think this card is just good by itself.
Really?
Yeah. The fact that it's like in Commander, you have 3 people that you're going to be hitting with this, or you're going to be draining life from. And in Rakdos, that's like most of what you're doing. Like if you're playing a Reanimator deck, obviously I would consider this in a different light. The way that I play Black and Rakdos a lot of the time is Aristocrat painting stuff. So to me, this card is like, this is a 2-man. This is Sign in Blood
from your opponent
on somebody else's deck. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. If you're playing another type of deck, obviously it's going to be weighed in a little bit of a different light, but I still feel like casting this for even 4 mana is really, really feasible. You know, that's just losing 3 life. That's smacking someone with your commander or smacking someone with some tokens. Yeah. As it stands as a 7 mana card, I don't think it's very good. I feel like you'll never. Yeah, it's never going to be 7 mana, and it's a Rakdos land on the back. I think it's really, really good.
Yeah, would you put it in solid?
Yeah, I would put it in solid.
Sweet. I agree.
What would you put it in?
I think the more we're talking about it, and the more like I'm thinking about just all the red-black decks, I think it's pretty good. Any sacrifice deck,
because regardless, you're doing some kind of like, because in what's his name? You just said it.
Rakdos.
No, the other one.
Like my Rakdos deck is Olivia Crimson Bride. But even in that, like she's flying, so that's gonna make it cost 3 less. So it's gonna be
yeah.
So at minimum.
That's yeah. At minimum, it's going to probably cost 4 mana.
Yeah. Seems good.
Oh my god, I cannot remember it. What is the name of the
Prosper?
fucking Forgotten Realms? Yes, Jesus Christ. I was having such a hard time with that. Fuck. Fuck! Prosper would also go crazy with this because you're going to be playing those things that like Reckless Fireweaver and stuff too. So when those treasures enter, you're dealing damage. Yep. So it's also going to bring it down. Really good card. Good card.
It's cool. It just looks badass. The art's insane.
The art is really good, yeah. I like the skeleton.
Yeah. Next up, okay. I'm really interested in what you have to say about this one. Boggart Trawler. 3 mana, 3/1 goblin. When it enters the battlefield, exile target player's graveyard. And then on the back, it's enters the battlefield, you may pay 3 life. If you don't, it enters the battlefield tapped for black. It taps for black. So we got a black creature. It's a Bajuka Bog creature.
Yeah, it's Bajuka Bog on a stick. And then this is also the Modern Horizons 3 thing, where all of the uncommon monocolored lands have the pay 3 life, enter tapped. So that got downgraded from a mythic thing to an uncommon thing, which is just fucking bonkers for the set. Yeah. But I think this card is solid. It's a 3/1, which is a decent blocker or swinger, whatever you want to do. It exiles the graveyard, so that helps. The one thing that I wish is that it just had a functional Bajuka Bog on the back.
Well, that'd be busted.
Yeah. But I want it.
I'm really torn on this card. Because there's definitely times when you don't care about Bajuka Bog. Bajuka Bog's in your opening hand, and it's I'm just going to play for a land. I'm not going to exile any graveyard. And then it's just a tap land. You know? So,
yeah.
Even... So, this might be better. Because if I really care about exiling someone's graveyard, I'm willing to spend mana on it.
I'm smelling the shit that you're shitting, and I'm agreeing with you.
But Bajuka Bog is free.
I'd rather have this effect on the stick.
Bajuka Bog is free. It's as free
we'll
as it
just
can
run
be.
them both.
Yeah. If you care, in a Yara, where you care about the creature so much, this seems really good. But any black deck cares about the creature, you know?
Well, and this is better because you can sack it, bring it back, and get another graveyard.
Yeah.
Bajuka Bog is kind of a one-and-done deal unless you're playing Gitrog.
And Bajuka Bog
or
is
a weird
not
Titania
a swamp.
mix. Is this other one a swamp?
No, but what I'm saying is that it's not a swamp. So it's a not swamp in your mana base. And so it fucks up your Cabal coffers. Boggart Trawler doesn't have to because it is also a creature.
It's also a weird little fucker.
Yeah, it's a weird guy. And he's a Boggart Trawler. Which is just kind of nice to say.
Yeah.
I think this might be goated.
You think this might be goated?
I think it might be. I think this thing's really good. This could be copium. I don't know. But I think it's good. I think it's really good.
I'm agreeing with you on especially from the fact that in your opening hand, this is kind of 2 ways better than Bajuka Bog.
Yeah.
You've either got a stick that you can use for your game plan to do the thing, or you just have an untapped black mana that you can dark writ with into something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And if I really need to exile a graveyard, I'll pay 3 mana for it. I think that's worth it because I'm also getting a 3/1. So
yeah, I was gonna say it's not at instant speed, but neither is Bog, so it doesn't matter.
I have done Bog at instant speed before, but that's just because I'm a gamer.
That's
With
yeah. You see the code.
with Simone and Dina. I was like, oh, but I like planned it too. I was like, it's a graveyard deck, and I was like, Simone and Dina bog with your trigger on the stack. It was sick.
I'd be pissed.
So that is kind of fair because the MDFCs, they only count as what they are on the front in your hand. Like they are, you can play them as a land, but they count as a creature like in all zones until you play it as a land. So in your hand, it doesn't count as a land. So, like if you have something that says like you may put a land from your hand into play, you can't do that with the MDFCs.
Yeah.
So
I don't think that's a huge trade-off.
Yeah, like in that deck specifically, like Simone and Dina, like I don't like maybe don't run the Boggart, run the Bajuka Bog. But in most decks, run the Boggart.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to put it in good, I'll support you in that.
Yeah, we'll see. I definitely want to get one and try it. We'll see how it is. But I think it might have Power Crab Bajuka Bog. We'll see.
Okay, hell yeah.
I could be wrong.
Well, I mean, we'll find out.
Next up, we got Bridgeworks.
What do we got? We got Battle.
Yeah, Bridgeworks Battle. 3 mana, sorcery. Target creature you control gets +2/+2 until end of turn. It fights up to one target creature you don't control. And then on the back, pay 3 life, and it enters untapped. And it taps for green.
The art for the land is sick.
Yeah, it's Ron Spears art. This set has a lot of the old Magic arts coming back, and it just like the art for the set is so good.
Yeah, I think also that's really solid. 3 mana for a +3/+3 or a +2/+2 and fight is really good because then that +2/+2 is still there when you swing. It's not like a rapid bite or something where it's just like a punch and it's done. You still have like an extra beef to swing with. And the land is solid. I don't know necessarily how much the land matters for green when you have land ramp and you're drawing cards and doing other stuff. But I do think in terms of like a fight spell, it's decent. It's pretty solid.
But a fight spell that is a basic basically is pretty sweet.
Yeah, as also a land helps out a lot because it's like, then why wouldn't you run that? I'd probably put it in solid.
I think it's solid too.
Yeah.
There's another fight spell we're going to talk about later that I also think is solid. I like it. Sweet.
Hell yeah. And that one, did that have pay 3 life and enter untapped?
Yes, it did.
That's crazy because this next one does too.
Sorry, Bridgeworks Battle. I forgot to pull it up for the people at home. But yes,
Oh, the people at home. Yeah, that's the dude right there. The art for it's fucking awesome. I love the art.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, sorry. There's a ton of these, so if we just kind of talk through them. That's partially just because we're going through like 40 of them or something like that.
This one is really interesting. I'm curious what you think.
Yeah, Disciple of Freyalise. Is that who we're doing next? Nice. So 3 mana and 3 green, so 6 total for an elf druid. When Disciple of Freyalise enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, you gain X life and draw X cards where X is that creature's power. And it's a 3/3. And it has the Garden of Freyalise enters the battlefield. You may pay 3 life. If you don't, it enters the battlefield tapped, and it's a land on the back. Oh.
So this is like a color swap version of like an existing card.
Fuck.
Disciple of Bolus. Disciple of Bolus is 4 mana, a black creature. When it enters the battlefield, sacrifice another creature. You gain X life. You draw X cards where X is that creature's power. And that's a black card, 4 mana, and it's solid.
6 mana is a green card.
But the green one's also a land.
It's also a land. Dude, that's fucked up. That's crazy.
That seems pretty good.
Yeah, and there's enough mana reducers that it's possible that, like, if you wanted to, you could also play it for less mana than this. But 6 mana for that is so okay. That's totally fine.
That's where I don't know. That is a lot.
It's a lot, but you're also gaining that much life.
Yeah.
Like what? You're probably going to draw 6 cards and gain 6 life. That's a card and a life per pit.
There's a card called Monumentous Fall, which is a 4-mana instant. As an additional cost to cast a spell, sack a creature. You draw a card that's equal to the sacrificed creature's power, then you gain life equal to its toughness. See, that's 4 mana.
That's 4 mana, but it's not a land.
Yeah. And then,
but I see what you're saying. If it was like 5 mana, like if it was 2 green pips and 3 generic, I think that would be the sweet spot. It is a little overcosted.
There's another one where it's like,
or 3 green and 2 generic. That would actually be kind of sick.
There's like a 2 mana one, I think. Life's Legacy.
Oh.
As an additional cost, it's 2 mana sorcery. Sack a creature, draw cards equal to sacrifice creature's power.
What the fuck? I've never seen that card before.
It's really good.
That's really, really, really good.
And the art's cool. Yeah, 2 mana for that.
Yeah.
Sorry. So, it's just like, those are just so much cheaper. But that effect is solid as well. So, like, those cards are good. So, this card is probably also good. But just 6 mana, that's just so much.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely the top end of that spell, but it's also got the land on it. Maybe.
I think the 6 mana just makes it just like good design. Like, it's just kind of like a reasonable rate for how good this is.
Yeah.
It's just not busted like I want it to be.
Yeah.
So
that's how I felt about the Boggart.
Yeah, but the Boggart I think is still pretty sweet.
It's still really good, yeah.
Disciple, would you put it in solid? How do you feel about solid?
I'd put it in solid.
Or
at least for right now.
All right.
Part of me is maybe thinking meh, but I don't know.
Or what about situational?
It could be situational.
Are you in an elf deck? Are you in... Like, I definitely want to put this in any green deck, for sure. But if you're, like, in, like, a big... Like, a Xenagos kind of deck, it's probably good there. Because you're drawing, like, 15 cards.
Yeah. You can smack with the big dude, gain all that life, and draw a bunch of cards.
Yeah, that seems pretty hype. Yeah, situational. I dig.
Sick. What do we got next?
Next up. Oop.
I was to say, this card is crazy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The art is insane.
Yeah, the art's insane.
Reading it, it's not great, but...
Drowner of Truth. A 7 mana, blue-green. 7/6, devoid. When you cast a spell, if colorless, colorless symbol was spent to cast it, create 2 Eldrazi spawns with sacrifice this, make 2 colorless.
So that's okay. And then it's a Simic tapped land on the back.
Yeah, like, I think it's pretty... No. Honestly.
I would say in your Eldrazi deck, go for it. Outside of that, no.
Even in the Eldrazi deck, like... I feel like there's better Eldrazi you can be playing.
Are there enough Eldrazi that it matters?
Oh, yeah. Especially because there's a ton in this set. There's decent devoid ones from the older set. There's plenty. Like, you only need like 30.
That's fair.
So, I don't know. I mean, it is a land on the back, but
you don't really. I don't know. If you're playing an Eldrazi deck, you kind of don't want that colored mana, right?
Well, the new 5-color Eldrazi lets you. You kind of want some of the pips, but not as many.
Yeah.
And like,
I'd probably say meh.
You think meh? I mean, it is big. It's just like a big dude, but it doesn't even have flying or trample or anything. It's just a 7/6.
Yeah. It doesn't have Annihilator 1.
Yeah, give it something.
Yeah, just give it Annihilator. It's big enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd put it in no.
Yeah, I just don't see the vision. It's probably gonna be sweet and limited, but
it might be. We'll have to see. Sorry, I was kind of looking at the next one, I think, because we've got Amiria's Call next.
yes. Amiria's Call is 4 white, so 7 mana. Create 2 4/4 white Angel Warrior creature tokens with flying. Non-angel creatures you control gain indestructible until your next turn. And then on the back, it's a 7 mana, or it's a land. You can pay 3 life to have it enter untapped.
Yeah.
What do you think of this one, Ryan?
I was going to ask you. Because I think it's like okay.
I think it's okay. I think white has better ones than this. Like, the fact it enters untapped is decent. But just 7 mana for 2 4/4s with flying. And then, like, the indestructible is nice. So this lets you get, like, a free attack in. And then, like, a round of they can't board wipe you. So you kind of get, like, 2 attacks in. And it is free, because it's just kind of a land, you know, that can let you get 2 attacks in and give you 2 angels.
Yeah.
So I think it's probably solid. It's just not nearly as good as the other 2 mythic ones that we've talked about so far.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I think it's solid.
I think I've cast it once, and when it resolved, it was like, okay, I did that.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't so game warping like when you cast Agadeem's Awakening, everyone's like, fuck, damn
Or
it.
Seagate, where you're drawing like 8 cards. Like,
yeah, and everyone,
it's 8.
It makes everyone's head turn.
It's 8 power. Flying. So it's good. It's definitely solid. Definitely solid. It's just not as flashy.
That's 8 power, but those don't even get indestructible, and you can't attack with them.
Yeah, but they can block.
So
They're solid blockers.
they can block. Yeah,
They're solid blockers.
that's fair enough.
It's good.
It's solid.
I think white got a better one.
A better MDFC.
Yes. I think it's the best one,
Okay.
honestly. It's insane that they printed the card. We'll get there, though. Fell the Profane.
We're getting there.
2 black. Destroy target creature, planeswalker. Instant. And then on the back, it's pay 3 life or enters tapped for a black land.
Seems
I
solid.
think it's really good.
Yeah. Extra spell or extra pip, because murder is 1 and 2 black, destroy target creature.
Yeah.
For an extra pip, you also add Planeswalker in there and get a land.
Yeah. Or here.
And it's still at instant speed.
Yeah. Like, Hero's Downfall is 3 mana, and that's destroy target creature or planeswalker.
Planeswalker. Yeah.
But this is a land. So,
Yeah.
this seems like definitely at least solid.
Yes. I don't know if it's goated. We'd have to see how much it gets played, but it's definitely solid.
Yeah. What?
Like, I'll probably just be putting this in decks.
Yeah. Because this, like, replaced one of the Zendikar ones. There was a rare one. Hagra Mauling. It's like 2 black. The spell costs 1 less to cast if an opponent controls no basic lands. Destroy target creature. And then it only enters the battlefield tapped for black.
Yeah.
And, like, I've run this before, but this other one's just way better. Like, I don't care about it costing 1 less, because this will always enter untapped. Or can always enter untapped.
And the chance of it costing 1 less are, like, kind of low.
Yeah, I feel like that'll never happen.
And controls no basics.
At least in our meta.
Unless you're playing against, like, a 4 or a 5 color deck, you know?
Like, in our meta, there's always basics. Because I think basics are good. You should be running basics.
Yeah, you should be running basics. So it's like, yeah, I think Fel the Profane, I'd probably put it in solid, and I feel like Hagara Mauling is probably meh, because it also enters tapped no matter what.
Yeah, Hagra Mauling, I think, would probably be in solid, because it is removal in your mana base, but it just got fucking power corrupt. So it's in meh now. And then this is solid.
I would agree with that.
Modern Magic, baby.
Yeah, you're watching it in front of your eyes.
Okay, we got another insane one.
Yeah, this card's really good.
Glass Pool Mimic. It's a 3 mana 0/0 Shapeshifter Rogue. You may have it enter the battlefield as a copy of a creature you control, except it's a Shapeshifter Rogue in addition to its other types.
Yeah, it's a good clone for 3 mana.
On a land.
And it's a land.
It enters tapped. The land enters tapped no matter what. But I think this is goated. I think this kind of just goes... You can run this in any blue deck and it'll be solid.
Yeah. I mean, you can double your Muldrifter. You can... oh my goodness. You could double the thing that like lets you... Your Siren Songkeeper or whatever it is. The thing that lets you sack it to counter a spell. You could have 2 counter spells on board for 1 mana each. Yeah. You could copy your 8/8 Kraken token.
Yep, I think it's really insane. Because it's like, that's cheap. It's already cheap for a clone. Like, a clone at 4 mana is like fine. But 3 mana for a clone, that's already pretty good. But it's also a land.
It's also a fucking land.
So
it's so funny.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's a really good card. I would definitely put that one in goated.
Crazy card.
Goated out the ass. And then what? We got Glasswing Grace.
Yeah, this is a new one from Modern Horizons 3.
It's an enchantment aura for 3 and 2 Orzhov, so a white or a black twice. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and has has flying and lifelink. I was going to say lifelink and flying. And then the backside is Age Graced Chapel, and it's just a tapped Orzhov land.
Yeah.
I'm a little meh on it. +2/+2 flying and lifelink is solid. Maybe more situational, you know, if you're playing a Kellen deck or something that matters about enchantments in Orzhov. But I don't think I would jam this in like any generic Orzhov deck or any generic deck that has those colors in it.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's... Yeah. Situational sounds good.
Yeah, it's like maybe a mana overcosted, but it's got... Like, it's fine, but it's not doing... I'm just not, like, blown away by it. It's like, I think this will be really good in Limited.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah, you cast this in Limited, and the opponent's like, oh, I can't fucking do shit. Yeah. And you're like,
But flying and lifelink is solid, so you can make something small pretty good. So
Yeah, definitely not bad, but in terms of like what we've looked at already and what we will look at, it's just like it's fine.
Next up, we got Hydroelectric Specimen. A 3 mana, 2 and a blue for a 1/4 with flash. When it enters the battlefield, you may change the target of target instant or sorcery spell with a single target to Hydroelectric Specimen.
What the hell?
And then it's got the pay 3 life, and it enters untapped on the back for a blue.
From Modern Horizons 3. Yeah, this is one of the new ones. This is crazy.
It's interesting. It's kind of like
I feel like you could really fuck some games up with this.
It's like a 3 mana counterspell on a creature.
Well, it's like a little bit better than a counterspell in some aspects, because like you can obviously pull some kind of kill spell off of your other creatures, like save your commander and just have like a murder or something hit this. But if they were also casting like just this is like a really bad target, but just for the sake of it, someone casts Return to Wild Speaker targeting their 8/8, and then you flash this in and you're like, just kidding, you paid 5 mana for me to draw a card.
Well, it has to target a creature.
Yeah, doesn't it draw cards equal to like target creature's power, or the highest? No, it's the highest one.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's things that target creatures that if you pulled it off of that, it would be kind of fun.
Okay, no, I see what you mean. So we're... Yeah.
You're like yoinking the spell away from them. Mm-hmm. Like in a Zada deck where you're trying to cast things that target only Zada, and then you're blinking this over and over again, so it just targets Hydroelectric Specimen instead.
But I don't know if that would work. So like you counter, you put the spell at Zada, and then the trigger's instantly got to go on the stack because it only targeted Zada. And then you'll flash this in, and then it won't target Zada anymore, but the triggers are already on the stack. Yeah. Like what I think this is good for is like stopping removal. It's like you got a swords pointed at my commander. I'm going to flash this in. You're going to swords the Hydroelectric Specimen instead.
Yeah. I feel like there's some funny stuff you can do.
That's
with this
true.
card.
Yeah, there's probably some stuff I'm not thinking about that. You're right. There's going to be some weird stuff where it's like target creature. But
target creature gets a big bussy. Just kidding. My specimen gets a big bussy. Yeah. And it's a 1/4, so it's a solid blocker. I think it's decent. I'd like to play with it. I want to mess around with it.
You put it in...
Probably put it in meh for right now.
Sure.
Because at that point it is kind of just a counter spell. But once we can figure out what the funny things are to do with it, I think it's going to be really good.
But it's a counter spell on a... Like, that's a pretty efficient rate. It's a 3 mana... Because like typically like a Mystic Snake, that's like 4 mana. And that's like green, green, blue, blue. So like...
Oh, that's fair.
Like a 3 mana counter... on a creature, if you care about the creature, which tons of decks cares about,
and it's a land.
Yeah, and it's a land. So I don't know.
Well, what would you say? You thinking solid or maybe
it might be solid? Honestly, it just kind of doesn't do.
Let's stick it in solid.
It just kind of doesn't do anything. But
the art is also cool. If you flip it back and forth, it's like this almost the same perspective. It's like zoomed in just a little bit, which is really cool.
Oh yeah. That's interesting.
It's like kind of fun to just hit the turnover button in Scryfall and like look at the scene.
Yeah.
That's like really cool.
It's the laboratory, and then it like breaks out of the laboratory, or it breaks out of like that little thing in the back.
Yeah,
interesting.
That's so cool. I love that.
Cool.
I'd put it in solid. I'm down to put it in
I think it's solid. The more we talk about it, I think it's pretty solid. And it's a weird. I like weirds.
Yeah. Shout out weird.
Okay. Jawari Disruption. 1 in a blue, counter target spell unless its controller pays 1. And then it's a land that enters tapped.
Yeah, one of the Zendikar uncommon ones. Yeah. It's what? It's not Mana Leak, is it?
It's Force Spike.
What?
Force Spike. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 1.
Oh, I thought there was one that's 2 mana. It's like literally the same thing. But that is it. And then it's a land. I think this is solid. If you're running counter spells, you should just run this.
I don't know. Pay 1? 1? I can pay 1.
Yeah.
You can always pay 1.
Not if I play it at the right time, you can't pay 1.
But 2 mana to hopefully pay it, have it, like, holding up 2 mana to, like, hopefully you can have something at the right time, that's kind of a lot. I'd rather just have something else.
I mean, yeah, but if you're playing like a Baral deck or something and you're just running a bunch of counter spells,
I would never do that. I would never be in that situation.
Oh, because you wouldn't play Baral.
Yeah, because that's just boring.
It's so
I'm trying
good.
to play Commander, bro.
That's fair.
In like Brawl
games,
Brawl, this is really, really good for sure. But I'm talking about like Commander, where I'm trying to do things. Yeah. I'm trying to actually like have an experience with 3 other players. I'm not trying to just counter a bunch of spells just to counter a bunch of spells.
I think there's a place for that. If everyone's down to play that kind of game, I think that's fine. I think that's a version of fun.
Yes, but I think that is rare.
Maybe. It might not be as rare as we assume.
I don't know.
My beautiful boy.
I mean, anytime
I'm using my mouse to rub your cheek, and it's the little hand. Oh, wow. So it looks like I'm just like putting my hand on your cheek.
But like, I just feel like holding up, like paying 1 is.
It's definitely not good in terms of like a counter spell.
1 is so easy.
Yeah.
There's another counter.
I mean, you can run it and still sneak it.
There's another counter spell in here that I think is way better.
Okay. Where do you think this
I think
one
it's
goes?
meh. I think you could run it.
Okay.
I wouldn't. I'd rather just have better counter spells in better lands.
Yeah. That's fair. So I'm down to put it in meh.
Sweet.
Hell yeah.
Next up, we got Kabira Takedown. Ryan, can you see it? You know what's going on?
Yes, I can see it. Yes. We definitely did not take any time off at all. So now that we're back and nothing's changed, Kabira Takedown.
1 in a blue. Kabira.
What?
Oh, sorry. 1 in a white. Kabira Takedown deals damage. I was literally looking at the white symbol. It's an instant that deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control to target creature or planeswalker.
That's not bad for 2 mana.
I think it's really good. I run it in my mono white deck because it's just it's good removal. In a white deck, you're gonna have a decent amount of creatures. As long as you have 3 or 4 creatures, you're gonna kill most things.
Yeah, I would run this in a white or a Boros deck probably. Maybe even
or Selesnya.
Selesnya all the way up to Naya, honestly. I think like once you add black into it, you don't really give a shit anymore. It's kind of like I can destroy so much more. But this card is like really solid, especially for like just white decks. Because I mean, like what Swift Response is 1 in a white at instant speed, and it only deals damage to target tapped and attacking creature for 4 damage, and that's like a lot of the white deal damage spells in this range are kind of more like it either has to be tapped or it has to be attacking you. So, like, this is, like, definitely above rate in terms of what it's doing. And it's a land on the back. The land does enter tapped.
I think
but
that's what saves it.
it's a land.
It's like a mid card, but it's a land. So I think it's pretty good for being a land. I think it's solid.
Yeah, I would definitely say solid.
Heck yeah.
Fwig, yeah. Oh, and then the big boy.
Oh, yeah. This one's interesting. You want to read this one?
Yeah, for sure. This is Kazandu Mammoth. It's 1 and 2 green for a creature elephant 3/3. And then it has landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, it gets +2/+2 till end of turn. I think the thing that helps this is that it is just 3 mana. If it was really anything much over that, it would kind of be a little booty because it doesn't have trample or like any kind of evasion baked in. So it is just kind of a beater that gets stopped pretty easily. But if you put like Rancor or some kind of enchantment on it that gives it trample, then it's just that much better. And at 3 mana, it kind of slaps. And then on the flip side, it's Kazandu Valley, which is just a forest that enters tapped, basically. I like it. I think for 3 mana, it's okay. It doesn't really give me... I'm not like as stoked on it as I was like the last card or some of the other ones. I like that it's an elephant.
I do. I think it's neat to look at. Like I like all the words on it. I just don't think it's commander playable. I just don't think it does enough. Like it's just a 5/5. I guess it could also be a 7/7 if you play a fetch land. But a 3 mana vanilla 7/7, I'm not really interested in that personally.
Yeah.
I would love...
Well, like in Zamon and Dina, you could make this huge, but again...
But no trample.
It doesn't have a way to get through.
Yeah. And I feel like you could... In like your Stompy decks, you have better Stompies. In your Landfall decks, you have better things to be triggering Landfall on. And... So I just don't know where you would play this. I think this is better in like 60 card formats or in cube. I think this is sweet as like a cube card. Like I would love a cube where this card is awesome. I don't know what that cube is, but maybe I can. I want to make a cube with actually like just all cards in it because I have my peasant cube, but I want a cube where I can just put like whatever I want in it. And this would definitely be in there because I think it's neat. I think it's a cool card. But
I
don't think it's commander.
Not commander though.
Yeah, you could play it. I think it's
we
meh.
dunking him and no.
I think it's meh. I think if you played it, it's fine. It's a creature that gets big. I mean, a 5/5 is a solid dude, and I like looking at him. So if you played this, I'd be like, okay, yeah. But I don't know where you would. You know?
Yeah. Where's his home?
I don't think he has a home, but if you find a home for him, I think he'll do his job pretty well.
That's so sad.
I know. I wish I liked him.
If anyone has a home for Kazandu Mammoth, please let us know, because I'm not going to be able to sleep.
Next up, we got Kazul's Fury. A 3 mana instant. As an additional cost to cast a spell, sack a creature. Kazul's Fury deals damage equal to sacrifice creature's power to any target.
And then it's a tapped mountain on the back.
Yeah.
Comes in tapped and only makes red.
So it's a fling.
What do you think?
Flings are pretty decent. I like that it's an instant. It just kind of lets you get some extra value out of your creatures. So it's kind of like a combo card. Like, I run this in Xenagos because I got a 15/15 with trample. I'm going to throw 15 power at someone's face. They'll block and take like 12 of it, and then I'll sack it, and then I'll throw it at someone's face.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
So I think if you're running big things, or like a dragon deck, where, like in Lathlis, where you're making 5/5s, pay 3 mana, just throw 5 at someone's face, that seems decent. And it's any target, so you could use it as removal too.
Yeah, that's true. I'm going to kind of default to you on this one because I don't really play any kind of cards like this. And to me, I don't really know
I
how to
I
judge
think it's
it.
situational. I think you need creatures that are either huge, so this can be like a remove a player spell, or like it could be good.
Does say any target.
Like I think this is a cool deck. Lagamos, Hand of Hatred. So this count like you make a 2/1, so you can like sack that 2/1 and then throw it at a target, but then it counts towards um your tap, search library for a card, put it in your hand, then shuffle, activate only if 5 or more creatures died this turn. So you can sack your 2, and people just don't block the 2/1. They'll just take 2
Yeah.
to not trigger this. So you sack it, you deal 2 damage to something, kill it. That's 2 out of the 3. So now you're closer to your demonic 2, in your mana base.
Yeah.
Or Gut True Soul Zealot makes 4 ones. So you can throw 4 at someone's face.
Yeah, I think that's solid.
So something.
I think anything where you're making like 4 to 5 power
Tokens.
things, yeah, it'd be solid in.
So there's some decks I think it's playable in, but it's definitely not like any deck. So I don't think it's like, I wouldn't call it solid, but I think it's like at the top of situational. And there's like several decks where this is pretty good.
Okay. Hell yeah. Let's put it there then.
If you agree with that.
I do agree. And like I said, I'm defaulting to you to that one.
I think it's solid.
I will agree with you.
I got it indexed, and I think it's solid.
Okay. Hell yeah.
But
I don't think I've ever played a fleen in my life, so I don't really know.
I think flings are kind of underrated. They're fun.
Yeah. They seem fun. I've never really played a deck that's big enough, you know what I mean, that warrants
Bro,
it. I feel
you
like
gotta
a lot
play
of my decks
some
are
big gruel stompy, brother. You're missing out on the joys of life.
I know. I want to make a mono green deck. I have one on Brawl that I play almost exclusively now because I really enjoy it. I just don't have something in paper. Playing Como the other night was fun.
Yeah, that body of research out, and that thing's crazy.
Yeah, I played a body of research on turn 4, I think, and made an 85/85, and everyone was like, "Oh, it's fine. We have blockers. It doesn't have trample or anything." And then I played Master Symmetrist from Strixhaven, which I think is such a good
That card's
card.
crazy.
But it's 4 mana, and it's a Rhino that gives creatures who have the same power and toughness trample at combat. So then the 85/85 immediately got trample, and I just started taking people out of the game one by one. And then it got removed, and then I stopped having fun, and then I started pouting, and then I flipped the table, and then I left. But it was really fun up until that point.
Master Symmetrist is kind of underrated. That card's sweet.
It's really good. It's also perfect for bear decks and stuff like that, where everything's just the same thing.
And Coma, because he makes 3/3s, and is Coma a 6/6? Yeah, so it gives Coma trample. So solid card, underrated.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we got Colony Ambush, 3 mana instant. Target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. So this kind of got power crept by the other one, because the other one is bridge is 3 mana as well, also an instant, and gives +2/+2.
No, it's a sorcery.
Oh, it's a sorcery. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Talk me down.
But in all honesty, the +2/+2, I would take that over it being an instant.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No,
though.
you're good. So I think both are good then, because instant speed fight is really good.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like you're going to remove my thing. Well, I'm going to get some value out of it before you remove it. Or
before you swords or do whatever.
Or if you're in green, you don't. This is your creature removal, and so having it at instant speed is solid.
Mm-hmm.
So play both. I think it's solid. I think if you're in a non-white, non-black, green deck, this card's amazing.
Yeah.
Because it's also just a land.
And I think, the bridge battle or Bridgeworks battle is only a little bit better too, because you can do the 3 life and it comes in untapped. This one is just tapped no matter what.
Yeah.
But, definitely still totally playable. Yep. Not bad by any means. Mm-hmm. It's
can also get around like first strike, because like if like a bunch of attackers have first strike and like your creature's gonna die first, you can be like, well, they're gonna die at the same time because they're gonna deal damage to each other.
Yeah,
which is kind of niche.
Fights,
it's there.
Yeah. It's good. They're both good cards. I think bites are a little bit underrated at times too.
Yeah. No, they should definitely see play, like the ram throughs.
But our play group very aggressively plays white and black though, in terms of a lot of decks for removal. Yeah. So, oh man, what do we got next? I'm excited. I didn't look at what's next.
Next up is.
Oh wait, we didn't put that anywhere.
Oh, I put it in solid.
Okay, nice. That's what I was going to say. I was going to say toss it in solid.
Oh. Next up, we got Legion Leadership.
This card fucks.
Yeah, it seems pretty good. It's like a combat trick. 1 and a red or a white, so it's a Boros card. Instant. Until in a turn, double target creature's power and it gains first strike.
For 2 mana. And on the back of it is a tapped dual land.
Yeah, on the back is a red or a white land. So in your...
I think this card's really good.
In your Boros aggro decks, in your Mardu aggro decks, in your Naya aggro decks...
Your Dino decks.
Your
Vampire decks, your Edgar Markov decks.
Your Jeskai decks, so like your human Jeskai deck that like Andy has been playing
your
recently.
Your prowess decks,
wow. Yeah, that's true.
Oh,
that is good.
Oh, you could double it and then double it again.
Wow.
This card is really good,
Yeah,
dude.
It seems pretty good. I feel, especially in Naya, I feel like it's great in Naya because all your stuff's going to have trample. Like dinos, yeah. You got like your 6/6 dino, but now it's a 12/12 dino or it's a 12/6 dino with first strike, so it's gonna kill whatever. Like the first strike is really crazy, so it just kind of like is a removal spell.
And doubling it is really crazy. Like if Gultz is your commander, that's like if it somehow goes unblocked, 18 commander damage.
Yeah,
like crazy.
Yeah,
for 2 mana.
And in your mana base, like and it's tapped, but that's okay. That's okay. Like that's worth it because
that's like most dual lands.
Because this by itself in a card is really risky. Like you wouldn't want to run. I wouldn't want this as a part of my 99. You know, like a whole card of this. But this is also a land. They're so good, dude. So I think this is solid. I definitely think it's solid.
It feels also like a safe, I'm okay to play this as my land.
Yeah.
Like early game. You know, sometimes they're low costed enough where you're like, maybe I could hold on to it. And it's like, no, you should just play it as a land.
Yeah. Yeah, like turn 1, this is great, you know? I don't mind that at all.
Yeah.
So this is like kind of never dead.
Feels good.
It's like either you got like an early game land or I got this really good like combat trick removal spell kind of thing. Kill spell maybe. I don't know. Seems crazy.
Yeah.
So definitely at least solid. Maybe not goated.
Yeah,
but
I would say at the very least solid.
Time will tell.
Just like the Boggart, time will tell.
Yeah, putting it at the top of solid though. It seems pretty good.
Yeah. Just to double its power and then give it first strike for 2 mana at instant speed is stupid.
That seems kind of nuts. Like that's just a cool card. That I don't think those words exist on a Magic card.
Yeah. Because you can play it first and get it to smash whatever's blocking it, or if it goes unblocked, it's not a dead card because of the first strike. You just double its power and do even more damage.
Yep.
Crazy good card. Very good. Next card is not too bad.
Yeah, I think it's okay.
Yeah, especially like in a mono white deck.
McKindy Stampede, 3 white. Creatures you control get +2/+2 until end of turn. So it's a 5 mana overrun. If you're in a go wide deck, it's probably good. Soldiers, like the Anam Bakal,
Birds, Flyers.
Rin and Siri is probably decent in that because you're going wide with cats, and then you make a bunch of 1/1 dogs.
Yeah.
That one Jetmir, it's probably good in Jetmir because he gives everything double strike. So now this is actually +4/+4, or at least 4 4 extra damage.
And Jetmir's buffing stuff the whole time, so technically it's going to be the +2/+2 on top of like a +6 stack already. So it's really good in that deck.
Yep.
And it's a land. It enters tapped and it's a plains.
Yes. So I think it's solid. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, definitely playable.
I think you need evasive flyers. Like a Layla, this might be good in a Layla. But Esper might be a little scary to run it, just a tapped plains. But maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it would just depend on your rock situation and what you're looking like, you know. It could go hard or it could just be kind of dead and you'd have to take a turn off to play it. But I feel like if you see it in your opening hand or you see it in the first couple cards, it's kind of easy to play around it. And then the 5 mana makes it kind of like once you would need to actively play around it, you can kind of just cast it. It's just a matter of like, is it wide enough to matter? Yeah, I would say solid.
What do you think of like the Esper, like Marnius Calgar, Greyfax kind of deck?
Oh, it could go really hard. I've only played the Warhammer Precon with Marnius at the helm once. And I think that's actually might have been the only time I played it too. Because Brody played it the first time. But yeah, it felt very easy to make a ton of tokens in that deck. And the mana was like insane. I felt like I had the most mana of anyone in that game, and I was playing Esper. Yeah, probably would go really crazy, especially because all the tokens in that deck are 2/2s, so they'd be 4/4s with a Vig. Because the Starry's Warrior, like Space Marine tokens, have Vig built into them. So I would say it's probably really good in that deck. I mean, if you're playing like a CEDH list, obviously not. But like you're playing just swing tokens, then yes. Yeah. I might have to get it and try it out. I might have to go through the bulk.
Next up, we got Malakir Rebirth, 1 black. Instant. Choose target creature. You lose 2 life. Until in a turn, this creature gains. When this creature dies, return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control.
And then it's a tapped swamp on the back.
Yeah. So, what do you think?
I think these are really... I mean, this makes this kind of maybe one of the more playable versions of this card, even though they printed like 12 versions of it in the past year. Just because it is also a land. And the art is sick. I dig it.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think it's pretty great. Because again, this is an effect like a fake your own death or feign death, where it's like it's not worth a whole card. But when it's on your land, I like it because it kind of keeps your commander around. If you got like a kill on sight commander, you'd be like, no, he's still here.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of goated. Because it makes this effect like playable.
Yeah, having seen a bunch of other versions of this card, I feel like this one is just generically the most playable.
Yeah.
1 mana save thing, or have a land where all the other ones are generically 1 to 2 mana save thing.
One time, and that's it.
No
and that's
land.
all they do.
Yeah.
So you agree with Goated?
Yeah, why not?
I think it's pretty great.
And then what we got next?
Okay, this one's interesting. Ondu Inversion. 8 mana, 6 white. Destroy all non-land permanents. Or it's a tapped white land.
I don't know. This wouldn't be like the worst third board wipe in your deck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I think it's...
play 2...
Go ahead.
Like, play 2 other board wipes and then have this one as a backup. Because if you don't see the other 2 at all and you just have this in your hand, cool. It is 8 mana, which is like way overcosted, but it also does get rid of like artifacts and enchantments and stuff, which is like, that's 2 mana off. Obviously, it's Farewell Exiles and hits graveyards as well, but it's like 2 extra mana for like effectively wiping the board in a way close to what Farewell does.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a clean slated board, lands only. Go.
Yeah. I think it's pretty great. Cuz when you need destroy all non-land permanents, you need it. It's like shit has gone wrong. There's crazy shit happening from all sides and I'm behind. So let's drop it. And let's just send it back to the Stone Age. Let's get this game under control. And I'll waste the whole turn to do that.
Yes.
And if you don't need that, you just have a land.
Yeah, if you're really skiing ahead and stuff, you're like, plop it down as a land, let's keep cooking.
Yeah, so I think I might be goated. Because I think it's a strong enough effect that like having it just as an emergency is really good. And then if you don't need it, then it's just you have mana for it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree.
We don't have any red ones in goated yet. That'll probably change. But
yeah, we're slowly getting there. I mean, there's a lot more red stuff coming up.
okay. Palaka Predation, 3 mana, sorcery. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a card from it with converted mana cost 3 or greater. That player discards that card, and it's got a black tapped land on the back.
The art is really cool.
Yeah.
It's just not really a commander
Yeah,
card.
I think it's...
I mean, people just like don't play this stuff in
Yeah,
Commander.
it's a Thoughtseize. It's a Duress. It's
like a bad version of those cards because it's way more mana and it's a little restrictive on what you
mana
hit.
cost 3 or greater. I mean, I feel like that's better in Commander because you're going to be hitting like the big scary stuff. But yeah, I just say no.
Yeah.
I just don't think this is playable in any format. So
That's the other thing because there's enough of these kind of spells that cost under it that if you're not playing like a Tiny Bones Turgrid discard deck, you're just like choosing to pay extra for having a tapped swamp on the back, which for this kind of effect to me is not really as worth it when like I could do 2 or 3 spells in a turn that do this same exact thing.
And I don't run those either. Like no one runs Thoughtseize in Commander.
Yeah.
It's just
unless
a bad
you're
rate.
like at that point it's really situational.
Yeah.
But even in those situational decks, you have so many better choices than this.
Sorry, Palaka Predation.
I would say, yeah, your art is really good. It looks really cool, and the cave is really cool, but the text is a little stinky.
Next up, we got Razorgrass Ambush. 1 in a green. It deals 3 damage to the target attacking or blocking creature. It's an instant, so kind of a classic effect. But it's got a land where you can pay 3 life and it enters untapped, and it taps for a white. So it's a white card.
Yeah, so this is a little more in line with what I was kind of talking about with white removal versus the Kabira takedown, where it's only an attacking or blocking creature. 3 damage is solid. I don't really think it matters too much in Commander. I feel like this will be like a limited or constructed card a little bit more.
Yeah, the 3 damage is just, I feel like that's a little worse than Kabira takedown. Because, like, that feels like the floor of Kabira takedown. Like, you're going to you could do even more damage than that. But only ever doing 3 seems okay. I mean, you'll definitely kill some stuff with it, but I think it's, like, situational.
I think it's a little, I would say it's meh, just purely because it's also attacking or blocking. And, like, Kabira takedown, you can just bash something. With this, It has to attack or block. True. And if you're just, like with Muldrotha, I would never attack or block with her just because of these kind of things, and it's just like you can't do anything at that point. There's not anything. It's just sitting there in your hand. I'd rather have a card that just says "bomp it," you know?
Yeah.
So I personally think it's
that makes sense to me.
Hell yeah.
Okay, we got a crazy one. Revitalizing Repast. Golgari. So it's just a green or a black. Instant, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. It gains indestructible until end of turn. And it has a Golgari tap land on the back. So it taps for green or black.
Yeah.
I think it's solid. What do you think?
I think it might be goated.
I don't know if it's goated. Because it's pretty restrictive in what decks it goes in. Because it's only Golgari decks. And then we have Tameo Safekeeping. We have Snakeskin Veil. And we have... there's like one more. Tyvar's Stand.
Yeah, but those cards aren't lands on the back.
Yeah, but they also give Hexproof.
Okay, that's fair.
So like this is only indestructible. And it gives the counter. So I think if you are in Golgari and you care about the counter, this is pretty good. This is on par with like a... But giving indestructible is pretty good. So like dodges board wipes, it can block anything.
And it's still a Golgari land. I feel like this is definitely at least solid.
Yeah, I think it's solid. For sure. But missing Hexproof...
It could be goated.
It could be. But missing Hexproof, I think, is the thing that's holding it back for me personally. But that's probably also good design. So it's probably for the best they didn't do that, because that would actually be probably too much. But for me, that holds it back, because I still play Tameo Safekeeping and Snakeskin Veil. I think they're solid cards.
Oh, definitely. I just feel like you could probably replace one of them with this card, or just run all 3 of them and have this as a land. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's solid protection.
Next up, we got Rush of...
Real fast, I think we might have missed one. Do you know if you have Pinnacle Monk in there?
Monk?
Yeah, Pinnacle Monk. It's a Dinge Monk 2/2 with prowess.
Oh, that's not in Scryfall yet.
I'm looking at it.
Huh, it's not in mine.
That's super weird.
Oh, now it is. I think they maybe just added it within the hour.
Oh, damn. Well, we should talk about it right now.
Okay,
then.
So hot off the presses, we got a brand new card just added to Scryfall since we've been recording. So it's not in here, but we'll still talk about it. I think this is cool.
Yeah.
Do you want to read it?
No, you got it. I think this is in your wheelhouse.
Oh wow. Three red for a Jin Monk with prowess 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. And it's got prowess. I don't know if I said that. And then it's got a pay 3 life red land on the back. I think it's a little too expensive. 5 mana for this is kind of a lot. Especially in your Spellslinger decks that want to be more low to the ground. Like, the most I want to spend on a creature is, like, 3. 4 gives me Archmage of Emeritus, and that's, like, worth 4 mana. I don't know if Pinnacle Monk is worth the mana. It's kind of a 2-for-1, because you're getting a prowess creature, and you're getting an instant or sorcery back from your graveyard. So I think it might be situational.
I would probably agree. Definitely wouldn't jam it in all the decks, but I feel like the getting something back from your yard is solid.
Mm-hmm. And like, these kind of cards are good. I this is actually going in my Peasant Cube. Like, this is really good. But Red doesn't have one of these in my cube yet, so this is pretty sweet.
Nice.
But in Commander, I don't know. I'd rather just like Mizzix Mastery, and just cast everything.
Oh, that's fair. But this gets your Mizzix Mastery back if you need it.
That's true.
Yeah. So I think it's situational, solid, at least worth taking a look at.
Yeah.
So kind of fun that something popped up while we were recording.
Yes.
I refreshed my page and Tyler's didn't have it yet. So, and then I think the one after that is going to be Rush of Inspiration.
Yes. Rush.
And
what do you think, Ryan?
It's a 1 is it so a 3 mana instant, draw 2 cards, discard a card at random unless you pay 2 energy, and then it's got a tapped is it land on the back. I don't give a shit. I don't want to play it. Draw 2 cards and discard a card at random sucks. I'm probably never, there are going to be decks that want to play it with power or energy. So I guess it's going to be situational on the list. But, in terms of any other deck that doesn't use energy, I don't know why you would play this. Because you could just play, any other loot or draw effect in these 2 colors and have way more control over what you're doing.
I think it's situational because... Oh, it's discard a card at random? Oh, God. Never mind. Never mind.
Yeah.
No. Yep.
That's what I was like. The random just makes it so instantly bad unless you can pay the 2 energy. Then it can be situational for energy counter decks because it's probably decent. It's just an extra looter that's also a land.
Even an energy,
but if I was just playing,
it's like a bad divination.
No, absolutely. It's a bad faithless looting.
It should be discard a card unless you pay
2
energy.
energy.
You don't have to discard a card, and that seems okay.
Yeah.
Discard a card at random, dude? Yeah, I'm going to say no.
Well, because if you pay the 2 energy, then you don't have to discard a card either way.
Okay.
Because it's draw 2 cards and then discard a card unless you pay the 2 energy. So it does work like that.
Okay. I say put it in meh.
I would say meh. Because, unless you're using energy counters, it's going to suck.
I just don't care about energy. They're adding all this energy stuff, and I'm like, I don't care about any of that. I'm glad if you do, but yeah. I do not.
I even watched the energy Fallout decks. I played against 2 of them in a Commander night, and I was just like, this just kind of doesn't... I don't know. This is not my vibe.
I just don't care. I don't want counters for me. I'd rather just do something else.
The only counters I want for me are rad counters.
That does
radical
something
counters.
It ends the game. People are losing life.
Yeah, and it kills me every fucking game. You fucking die every time.
R.I.P.
You guys get me below like 10 health, and you're like, yeah, he's gonna kill himself next turn. It's fine.
Next up, we got Sahiri Shelter. 1 and a white for an instant. Target creature you control gains protection from the color of your choice until end of turn, and has a tapped land on the back. I think it's solid. I run this in my mono white deck because why not? It's free. It's like either that or I run a plains. So it's just kind of solid. This effect is good. It's just like a protection spell. It just,
Yeah. I think it's solid. Yeah.
Definitely solid.
Kind of up there. It's solid for the same reason that the Golgari one was solid. It's like it doesn't give you everything, but it does give you enough that you're safe. Revitalizing Repass. Yeah. Yeah. Dude. Oh. These cards are really cool. This episode... doing these episodes always gives me the itch.
I know. I'm trying to just play some Magic. Okay. Here's a big one. Shatter Skull Smashing. X red. It deals X damage divided as you choose among up to 2 target creatures and or planeswalkers. If X is 6 or more, it deals twice X damage divided as you choose among them instead. I think this card's kind of meh.
It's got the pay 3 life mountain on the back. Yeah.
So I think if you're in mono red, this is decent because this can be some some good creature removal. But it's only creatures and planeswalkers, and so if you do 8 mana into this, it deals twice X damage divided as you choose among them instead. It's only up to 2 target creatures, so you can do 12 damage to 2 creatures.
Yeah, if you pay 6 into it.
So you can kill like 2 6/6s with this. And 8 mana, sorcery speed, kill 2 6/6s.
I'd put it in a situational spot because, like, if you're running a deck where you're dealing double damage or +1 damage and stuff like that, you could put like 2 mana into this and it's a 4 mana kill 2 6/6s. You know what I mean? I think if you are building a deck based around burn and like burn is your thing, this is not the worst way to get rid of 2 bigger things because you're going to tack on some extra damage for what you're already dealing, and it's a land if you need it. But I wouldn't really try and play it outside of too much other stuff because there's other X spells that you can get more out of the more mana you put in. Like, it'll actually do more, or just run Blasphemous Act.
I could do situational because, like, it is just kind of a free card because it's just an untapped land. And then if you're in mono red, it can be okay with your damage doublers and stuff. No, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think like if you're building a deck that it works in, you can pay a lot less mana to get a better effect out of it, which is kind of funny. Or have a land, but outside of that, I probably wouldn't want to play it too much.
Yeah, it's just kind of whatever. I don't know. I have it in my dragon deck, and every time it's just a land. I tried to do it one time, and I was like, oh, it's only creatures. Because I wanted to kill someone with it, because someone was at 5. And I was like, oh, I can just pay 7 mana and kill them.
Yeah, bonk your head.
So, I don't know. I think it's just kind of whatever. But I see what you're saying.
I feel yeah, if you cook with it, you could it wouldn't be awful, and it's a land, so.
Next up.
But it's not great.
We got
You talking about Salundi Vision?
Yeah, 2 and a blue. Look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal an instant or sorcery spell from among them, put it into your hand, put the rest on the bottom in a random order. In your Spellslinger deck, this is like so good because it's an instant or sorcery that draws an instant or sorcery, goes 6 cards deep, so you'll find a good one, and it's at instant speed, and it's a land. In every other context, it's unplayable. But in that deck, it's super, super good. I love it in my Veyron deck. It's like I love seeing Solemnity Vision in my Veyron deck because that's a good card. Like 3 mana goes 6 deep to get like the thing your deck cares about. You know, like you always find something good with it. So.
And then if you are drawing cards off instant and sorceries, or you're able to also copy it or something like that, it just gets even crazier.
Or if you can make it cost less.
And it's a land. Oh, yeah, easy.
So, I think it's really good.
Probably cast this for 2 or 1 mana, 1 or 2 mana.
It's really good. It's just like only good in that deck. But in that deck, it's really good.
Which is fair. That's why we have the situational tier.
Okay, I'm curious what you think of this one. New one, Sink into Stupor, 1 blue. Return target or instant, return target spell or non-land permanent an opponent controls to its owner's hand. Enters tapped unless you pay 3 life. It's a blue land.
I think it's cool. Return target spell to me is always like funny, but I'd rather play a counter spell over it because I'd rather not just like give you the same spell that I don't want you to play. I think bouncing a non-land permanent is solid because then it's like, oh, you have to pay 6 mana for your Bolus of Citadel again, or so, you know, like you're kind of throwing a tax into the game. Having it on a land is solid. I think it's fine.
I think it's gonna be goated.
You think so?
Yes, because I think bounce spells are really underrated. Because even if they cast it again, they have to cast it again. You know, like they're still like behind so much mana. It's basically like you removed it. And then it's also, so it's a little above rate for a bounce spell, but it's also a land, so I'm okay with that. But then it also can return target spell, which can do, that's huge. That just slows people down a turn. So like that can return a commander to a hand. That can just like ruin someone's whole game. It's like I'm ready to cast my commander. Oh, you're back a whole turn now. Or it can stop a board wipe, like a 6 mana board wipe, like a farewell. They're not gonna have 12 mana. They probably won't have 12 mana to cast it again.
That's fair, yeah.
So like they're probably gonna drop the board wipe and then cast like a 2 or 3 mana spell. They're not gonna have enough to cast the board wipe again. So it's gonna get you a whole other turn.
I'm smelling it.
But I would put it in solid for now.
I think it would. I could see it potentially being goated. I just want to see. I do want to play with this one first. I think I want to see it first,
especially in non-white and blue, white and black colors, because bounce spells are really good in your your Simic, you know, because you're not blowing up. This helps deal with problematic creatures. This helps deal with problematic enchantments. If you're in you know, when like those colors all have like permanent types that are really sticky. So this lets you deal with them in your mana base, which is busted.
That's fair. Yeah.
So I think it's solid for sure.
Yeah. Potentially on the verge of goated.
We'll see. We got a few more.
And then, we already did that one. We've got Son Mad Treachery. Just 3 and 2 red for a sorcery, right? That's the one we're on. And it's like a treason effect. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature. It gains haste until end of turn. And then it's a tapped red on the back. And I think it's pretty mid. Because a lot of these spells you can get for 3 mana. And
5.
aside from it being a land, yeah, 5 mana is just so
5
much.
mana. I think if you're in a deck with like sack outlets, this is okay. Because then it's also a removal spell, so you're gaining it, you're going to get the attack with it, and then you can sack it. So it's a removal spell as well. Or if you use it for Krinko, I think this might be good in Krinko. Because it's just in your mana base, you know? It just replaces a mountain, and then you untap Krinko.
That's true.
Besides that,
I might have to try it, and that could be fun. Yeah.
Meh.
I would say meh, at least. Yeah. I don't even think it's situational because there's so many other cards that are solid compared to this one. But, like, yeah. I might try it in Krinko just for the shits and gigs and see what it's like having the extra land in there, too. I do need to up the land count in that deck.
Yeah.
So.
And you've already talked about how good the untap effects there are for Krinko. So it's just in your mana base, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I just want to play. Now I just want to play Krinko. I feel like I haven't gotten to play that deck enough.
That's good.
And the art for that card's pretty cool. That dude's losing his mind.
True.
And he's on, like, I love that. I couldn't get over the fact that he's definitely, like, harnessed into, like, a pulley thing. So he's just, like, going crazy and also just kind of, like, spinning in midair on, like, a climbing wall type situation, I imagine. I don't know why. I kind of dig the vibe. What's the Maton Ruin look like? The ruins look pretty cool, actually.
Oh, really?
That's fun. Yeah. But then what are we cooking next?
Next up, we got Spikefield Hazard. 1 red for an instant. It deals 1 damage to any target. If a permanent dealt damage this way would die this turn, exile it instead, and it's a tapped red land. I just say no.
Yeah.
Like,
this is definitely a 60 card.
Yeah, it's pretty good in like Phoenix. People ran it in Phoenix and Pioneer for a long time. I don't know if they still do, but they did, and I can see it there. But just 1 damage in Commander, just
because it shuts down Cat Oven and stuff.
Yeah,
and it can shut down Spirit Lords. I think there's some cards in the Spirit decks that are like 3/1s. But yeah, in Commander, like, what are you going to deal 1 damage to? Exactly. Nothing. Okay, 1 card.
Yeah, it's just not worth it. Yeah, put it in, I would say, no.
Yeah, I would say no. Just not worth it. The art is cool. I've always thought the art for that card was super cool, and I've always thought the card was so mid.
Good in 60 card, though.
Yeah, this next one's kind of fucking cracked, though.
Yeah, Strength of the Harvest. You want to read it, Ryan?
Yeah, sure. It's an enchantment aura for 2 in Selesnya, so a green or a white. And enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each creature and or enchantment you control. And then it's a tapped Selesnya land on the back called Haven of the Harvest. And that's crazy. That's so good. That is, what is it? All that glitters on a land. Like, with a land on it.
Yeah. Only in Celestia
It's actually
decks,
better than all that glitters.
But, well, all that...
I mean, you're going to be playing that kind of anyway.
Yeah. Like, imagine this in Gilwayne.
Yeah. Fucked up. That's fun. Every creature that you have would be +2/+2 to this creature.
And then I can give something trample.
Yeah, you give it the like monster token, and then it just starts rolling over everyone.
But like in all your enchantment decks, this is insane. In all like your go wide creature decks, this is pretty good. Like I wouldn't mind it. Like this is better than like a temple. You know, if you're in like any Celestia deck with creatures, you can just kind of run this. One of them will probably have trample or flying, and then this thing is just like gets +6/+6 on what was a tap land.
Yeah. I think this card could possibly.
I think it's good for sure. Because just like what?
Yeah. Like what the fuck are you doing?
It's 3 mana for that. Like that's fair. Like it's a slightly above rate, but like it's not as good as all that glitters. But it's also a land, so whatever. This seems kind of crazy.
Yeah. It is crazy because then you're also going to draw like 3 cards off of this.
Okay,
It's
this
good.
one's fun. Stump
Yes.
Stomp. 1 Gruul hybrid. So it's 2 mana, sorcery. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature or planeswalker you don't control. So this is a punch. This is a deal damage. Sorcery speed. Probably the same as all the other ones. It's I think it's solid.
Yeah, it's a bite on a land.
Yeah, it's the deal damage. The deal damage is definitely the best because fight makes you like deal damage to each other, so you could lose a creature, but this lets you just like shoot the damage at the creature. So
Yeah.
definitely solid.
I think this, if you're in Gruul or Naya or colors that support it, I feel like this is probably just like an easy top pick of those spells because it's right in the casting range. It's the exact same cost that it would normally be, which is like 2 mana. It is at sorcery speed, but it's also a land. So, like, out of the 3 or 4 of these that you play, this should be one of them. So, probably goated, right?
Oh, I put it in solid. You think it's goated?
Okay.
I could see it.
I'm okay with solid. I just I feel like it's definitely the top of the pops for
In
these
rule decks?
bite, fight, punch
Yeah,
spells.
you're probably right.
Yeah.
Okay, honestly, we need to put the Boros one in goated then. That thing's kind of insane.
It is insane. Yeah,
that's good.
I'd put that one in goated as
If you're in
well.
Boros, you should just play that card.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that card say target creature?
Oh my god,
you can...
Naya got fucking rammed. All 3 of these cards are in Naya, and you've got 3 tapped lands that are also 3 of the like dumbest cards that they've printed in this set.
Also, Legion's leadership is... It says target creature's power. So you could like kill... Like, you could do shit with other people's creatures with that thing. You got like a trampler going in somewhere, not at you. You can be like, well, it's going to kill that guy now.
Yeah, that's also really good. Or if they block because they know it's not gonna, that person has no mana open, and it's not gonna kill it, you can just buff it and kill whatever the problem creature is or their commander or something too.
Yeah. Insane card.
Legion leadership is goated. And then I think our next one is Sundering Eruption, right?
Yes. 3 mana.
Sick.
Red, destroy target land. Its controller may search their library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield tapped, and shuffle. Creatures without flying can't block this turn. And it's a sorcery, and it's got the pay 3 life for enters tapped. I think it might be goated.
You think so? I mean, like, it's no Stone Rain, but, you know.
It's, like, destroys Stone Rain.
I know. Yeah, it's just so much better. It's, I don't know if it's goated, because, I mean, like, how often do you need this?
Pretty often.
You think so? And the creature, how, like, relevant is the creatures without flying?
I mean, that's just extra
can't
words.
block?
I mean, it's just a...
Wait, that's actually better than I was reading it to be.
Yeah, creatures without flying can't block this turn.
Can't block.
So it just lets your flyers go in, but then it's like a...
Well, it just lets you swing in.
It's like Demolition
Like,
Field, but it's the same rate as Demolition Field and like Field of Ruin, and those are like decent because it's 3 mana.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I think the destroy land part is the stapled on part.
Really?
Creatures without flying can't block this turn. This lets you just swing in, and if they have no blockers or no flyers, they can't block.
That's true.
This is 3 mana. You can't block me with a land on it, and it blows up their land. This is fucked. Yeah. This is stupid.
Yeah. So I think it's goated because both modes are good. Yeah. Both modes are good.
And you just get it for paying the mana.
Yeah, and both modes are good at different times. So it's like, oh, there's a Field of the Dead, I gotta blow that up, or the board's bogged down, but I got a huge board. You know, so
yeah, let me crash through real fast. You can't block any of my goblins.
Yeah. So
and I'm gonna blow up your island, dum dum.
Yeah. Well, or you're blowing up like good. There's good lands out there, bro. Like you can like screw over.
No, I know, but even in an event where you're just like, I don't want you to block, you could just be like, fuck you.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
Goated it is.
I think it's goated. Seems kind of.
That's a really dumb card. That's stupid.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. I like how we both like came to terms with the like each mode. I was like, the first mode's crazy, and you're like, oh, I don't care about that. I care about the other mode. I was like, wait, you're right.
Yeah, you were like, what the fuck? And then I was like, wait a second.
So
I want this card to be cool. I don't even know what it does, but I know the energy's on it, so it might not be good.
it's okay. It's 3 Azorius. So 5 mana, only in Azorius decks. Sorcery.
For Suppression Ray.
Suppression Ray.
That's the name of the card.
Tap all creatures target player controls. You may pay X energy. Then choose up to X creatures tapped this way. Put a stun counter on each of them.
Okay, it could be worse.
Like, tap all creatures target player controls. That's going to kill someone. It's 5 mana, kill a player.
This might be really good in, like, go wide soldier decks.
Yeah.
I have a coworker who plays, like, pretty much exclusively, like, go wide 1/1 Azorius soldier tokens. Mm-hmm. And, like, this would totally close the game out for that kind of a deck.
Like Harbin?
Yes, yeah. Is that the one that gives them +2 or +1 or whatever? It's the Lord.
And flying.
Yeah,
I want to build him. I think he's underrated because he's 2 mana.
It's a really good card. I think that card, at least in my head, is appropriately
Harbin
rated.
Vanguard Aviator, 1 and a white and a blue, 3/2 flyer. So he's why is he a 3/2 flyer? And whenever you attack with
for 2 mana,
and then whenever you attack with 5 or more soldiers, creatures you control get +1/+1 a game flying its own turn.
Yeah, it's a good card.
So in that deck, it seems okay, because it's also just it's a dual land. At that point,
yeah,
it's a dual land.
I think it's fine.
Situation.
If you need a way to get in with your board, this might be it. But yeah, I might even say meh.
Yeah, because even in that, like, you gotta, like, it's just the tap if you're not doing energy. And, like, I'm never gonna be doing energy.
Yeah, I think the tap is fine. 5 mana, tap all of your stuff. If you can't stop this, I hit you for lethal. For 5 mana, I think that's okay.
Yeah.
The energy part is like an extra little bonus that I just don't give a shit about. It is also a land, which can help a little bit, but it's just kind of like, it might be a good budget card depending on the price. Like right now it's selling for like $1.17 or pre-ordering for $1.17. I think that's too much. But yeah, it could be good. I don't know if anyone's going to give enough of a shit to even try it.
I think we got the last mythic one. Turn Timber Symbiosis. 4 green.
Yep.
Sorcery. Look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield. If that card has converted mana cost 3 or less, it enters the battlefield with 3 additional +1/+1 counters on it. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. And then it's got, it enters tapped unless you pay 3 life for a green land.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty solid. I mean, as long as you're getting like a 5 or 6 mana creature with this, it's pretty good. I mean, that's a pretty good rate because you're also kind of drawing the card.
Yeah.
So it's card advantage, kind of mana advantage a little bit, especially if you're going up. Like if you could get like Galta in play with this or something.
Yeah. I think if you're in like a creature specific deck, it's really, really good. I don't know if I would just jam this in any green.
No.
I mean, probably jam it in any green deck because it's a creature deck, you know, as a joke. But like, in all seriousness, you would have to have like you would have to know that you're going to hit something really good. Because if you just hit this and it's like a 2/2 elf or something,
Not worth it.
that's gonna feel really bad.
So you need to be in like your big creature, like your mono green ramp into big dudes deck. Your Xenagos, your Rules Stompy, your Teamer Dragons, that kind of thing. It's probably really good in those, and then outside of that, you just don't play it.
Yeah, because I feel like there's also better like cheat things into play, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, for like just one thing is like Protean Hulk is like at least 1 mana less and gets you a little bit more, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Or the Last March of the Ints. How much mana is Last March?
I think it's 6.
7. 8.
Okay, so it's... Oh, so it's...
1 mana more gets you
par.
Last March of the Ints. So, and that card's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not as good as that, but it's a land. So maybe situational. I think in your big mana, big green creature, green decks is really good.
Yeah, I would absolutely... It's a great card in those decks. I wouldn't trust it enough to not hit something small and not be able to do other stuff in like wider range decks.
Like in like my band
But if
Falco
if
deck,
you're like,
I wouldn't be doing this because like all my creatures are like 2 or 3 mana. You know.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the other thing is you're like, I've got 40 lands and I've got 30 huge fatties and 10 cards that put lands onto the battlefield and draw me cards. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like that kind of vibe.
Next up, we got a banger.
Not bad though.
Valakut
Yeah.
Awakening. 2 in a red for an instant. I didn't know this was an instant. That's crazy.
That's fucked, actually.
Put any number of cards from your hand on the bottom of your library, then draw that many +1.
It's a pretty good card.
It's a great card.
That's a pretty good
It's
card.
kind of good in like anything.
And then it... Yeah.
Because there's always kind of dead cards in your hand. You know, it's like I'd rather just have something else. And then it's always +1. So you're staying even on cards.
It replaces itself, too.
You're staying even on cards.
So you're
not going up cards, but you're staying even, which is rare for red. So it's like, I got a bunch of lands, get rid of them, draw non-lands. You know?
Yeah. And it's got a land on the back for, like, I feel like this is one of the first ones, aside from, like, to me, Balagad Recovery is something I try never to play as the land if I don't need to. But this is kind of in that vein where it's like, I probably would almost never play this as a land unless I was, like, almost hell-bent, you know? And I just was like, I'm not putting, like, this one card on the bottom might not necessarily be worth it. I might just use the land. But... I would say, I mean, you think goated?
I think it's goated for sure. I think it is debatably the best one. It's like up there.
Out of all of them, period?
It's up there with like Balagad. It's like in the top 5.
Okay. Hell yeah. Let's slap it up there.
I did. Next up, Vastwood Fortification. 1 green for an instant. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature with the top green land on the back.
It's fine.
No. I just say no. Like, there's way better ways you could put a counter on a creature that costs no mana. So, just no.
Yeah.
I just don't know why this card exists. Even if it was like 2 mana, put 2 counters among 2 creatures. Okay, now I'm doing 2 counters, you know, but just 1 counter. It's a no for me, dog.
1 counter, 1 mana at instant speed. This is baby magic.
Yeah.
This is your 2-year-old learned to count and they're playing Magic. Congrats though. If you're in that position, your 2-year-old's a genius. That's crazy.
Okay, I'm curious what you think of this one. Waterlog Teachings.
We started talking about this one before we even started recording. I fuck with the art so hard.
3 Endemir.
Okay. Yeah.
Instant. Search your library for an instant card or a card with flash. Reveal it. Put it in your hand and then shuffle. And then it's got a Demir land on the back.
This card's really good at getting you your vampiric tutor.
Yeah, I guess.
No, I mean, it being at instant speed is pretty solid. Getting an instant card, it's basically like your removal getter or like your draw getter. You know, you're not probably getting anything crazy for it, which for me at 4-man is a little too much.
This card already exists. In Time Spiral, we had Mystical Teachings, 3 in a blue, same text. Search your library for an instant card or a card with flash. Reveal it. Put your hand in shuffle, and then it has flashback for 6 or for 6, 5 in a black. So it's a Dimir card.
Oh.
So this card already exists. And I've played this in my Chromium Flash deck, and it was like fine. But it being a land, I think, is way better.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I'd like to try and play it because it being a land on the back really helps. I was thinking about rebuilding a Dimir deck soon anyway because I don't really have one again at the moment. And I might just pick up a copy of this.
in like your
and try it
instant
out.
speed Dimir decks, and there's a lot of those. I think it's pretty good when like you're holding up like counter spells or holding up removal, and you don't need to remove anything. You do this and you just tutor for something. That seems pretty solid, and then it's just a land on the back. So I think it's situational. It's like I don't think all Dimir decks are going to play this, but in the decks that this is good, I think it'll be really good.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, I fuck with the art super hard. I like how
The art is really cool.
this is an example of, I really like it being bright and kind of cartoony almost.
Okay. Big one. Witch Enchanter. 3 and a white.
Witch Enchanter?
Witch Enchanter. This one.
Wait, no, Witch Enchanter?
I'm not doing this. 3 and a white. Human Warlock. When a Witch Enchanter enters the battlefield, destroy a target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls, and it's got the pay 3 life or enters tapped.
Hell yeah. This goes kind of stupid in Blink decks.
Oh, yeah. I think it's literally goated. I think this is the best in MDFC land.
I don't think I agree with that.
It's so good. Reclamation Stage is a good card. This is like better Reclamation Stage. It's a land. It's a 2/2 in white, so it's gonna do all that. You can like mentor the Meekit. You can Welcoming Vampire it. You can do so much stuff with it. Or it's a land.
Yeah. Or it's a land.
Like, Rex Sage is a banger card.
It is.
And this is Reclamation Sage that's a land. In white. White doesn't have... I mean, there's Lorn of the Third Path. Lorn's really good. But this is better than Lorn of the Third Path. I think.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not super sold on it being goated. I would say it's definitely solid.
Oh my gosh. It's so good. It's literally the best one. My jaw dropped when I saw it. I was like, there's no way they made that card. It's so good. It's exactly what White wants. I'm putting it at least goated.
Okay. You can put it in mid-goated. I'm fine with it.
I think it's literally the best one. It's so good. It goes in every single white deck.
Hell yeah.
And this last one is really bad.
Is it Zoth
Yeah,
Consumption?
Zoth Consumption might be the worst card of all time. So it's 4...
It can't be the worst card of all time. It's got to land on the back.
Dude, it's pretty bad. I would rather have
it is really bad.
It's the black one, so a swamp is better than this. 4
that is fair,
black for a sorcery. Each opponent
6 mana sorcery.
6 mana sorcery. Each opponent loses 4 life and you gain 4 life. Do we have
It's really
Do we even
bad.
have to say it?
No. It does have Izzy art though, which is
The art's
solid.
really good for sure. And then it's
Art by Izzy.
It's got a tapped land on the back. So this is a swamp is better than this because a swamp is going to give you more value in a black deck than this. And like
Yeah.
6 mana for
You can
a 16-point life swing is not worth it. It's like 1/10.
Yeah.
1/10 of your opponent's life you got rid of.
Yeah.
Not worth it.
Yeah. No. You can do so much more with that amount of mana.
Like even in like a veto kind of situation, like extort is just so much better. Like just have an extort creature or something. Because that's 1 mana, gain 3 life. Everyone, like that's much better rate.
Yeah, this card is undeniable poopy tier.
Unfortunately, unfortunate way to end.
Maybe fortunately, unfortunate way to end. Yes, but probably fortunate for us.
But I think that is all of them.
Yeah, we did it.
It was kind of a long one.
Yeah, it took us like 2 hours, but this is the definitive internet list. Everyone else is wrong.
Yeah, this is definitely definitive. For Commander, the MDFCs, let us know what you think at home. What did we get wrong? What did we get right? Comment, email us. Send us.
Can you blow it up a little bit so it takes up like the whole screen?
Yeah, it'll probably cover us.
That's okay. That way we can kind of see it a little bit better. We can go through all the cards real fast.
They're just kind of blurry.
Oh, that's true.
So at the top, we got Agadine. Goaded is Agadeem's Awakening, Seagate Restoration, Balaget Recovery, Valaget Awakening, Boggart Brawler, the Bajuka Bog one, Glasspool Mimic, Malakir Rebirth,
Undo
Inversion, the Selesnya one that gives +1/+1 for creatures and enchantments, the 3 mana one,
Strength of the Harvest,
Stump Stomp. Hell yeah, goated just for the name alone.
Yeah,
like Legion's Loyalty or whatever.
Legion Leadership.
Yes.
And then we've got Sundering Eruption.
And then Witch.
And Tyler's
Witch
favorite,
Enchanter.
Witch Enchanter. I still don't know Witch Enchanter, but I'm glad it's on the list.
And then we got all the other ones. The only ones I don't think you should really be playing is like Akum Warrior, Spikefield Hazard, Vastwood Fortification, Zoth Consumption, the Palaka Predation, and then whenever the big Simic Devoid Eldrazi one is.
Drowner of Truth.
Yeah, you don't need it. You're just kind of good with that.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the list. Oh, we could post the PNG.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely post the PNG. Perfect. Okay. Well, thank you, viewers at home, for watching. Thanks for hanging out.
Yes. Thank you for hanging with us. This is a good time.
See you.
Yeah, that's it for this week. Follow us, give us the love, give us the kisses, hit the subscribe button. Does the bell still work?
I don't know.
Witch Enchanter? I don't know. And we'll see y'all on the flip side. Bye-bye.